Now it's time for the Rob Johnson Sports Show, presented by the Legacy Maker Sports Network.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Rob Johnson Sports Show, presented by the Legacy Maker Sports Network and the Rob Johnson Media. Glad you all are here with me on this Sunday night, where we're going to talk some sports, and we are going to, let me see something real quick. Let me check something. Anyway, we're going to talk draft tonight. We're also going to talk some NCAA, some basketball, basically the scores. I'm not going to get too deep into things, but we are going to talk about just, the nits and the grannies and certain different things going on in the world of sports. So let's get to it. And let me see, we got a comment. Draft special. Let's go. Yes, sir. We have a draft special tonight here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. So let's talk about the NFL draft. As you see, NFL Draft 2024, we are going to be talking the NFL Draft. Some of these names may surprise you. This right here is just a draft, right? And there are things that are going to change. There are things that are going to be things going to be fluid over the next couple of months. So let's start with it. At number 1, we have Chicago Bears picking Caleb Williams, quarterback out of USC. At number 2, we have Commanders picking Joe Alt, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. I know some Commanders fans will say, why are you going offensive tackle? Well, from what I've seen, a lot of fans want to keep Sam Howell. So if you want to keep Sam Howell, then you're going to have to protect him. If Sam Howell is the quarterback that Commanders fans thinks that he is, then you're going to need some protection. So you're going to need Joe Alt, offensive tackle from Notre Dame. New England Patriots at number 3, I have them picking Jaden Daniels, quarterback, LSU. Why? Because Jaden Daniels is, I think, the quarterback that can go in and change life for the New England Patriots. So I'm giving it to Jaden Daniels going to the New England Patriots, number 3. Number 4, Marvin Harrison Jr. going to the Arizona Cardinals. I feel like he will change life for the Arizona Cardinals. I feel like he will go in there and give Kyler Murray that extra weapon that he needs, because Kyler Murray is a really good quarterback, and I think that at times he gets a bad rap. But if we look at what Kyler Murray did this past season, he's a really good quarterback, and he has the ability if you give him the right weapons. So you put him out there with Hollywood Brown, and you have Marvin Harrison Jr. out there on that turf out there in Arizona, good things will happen. Number 5, LA Chargers. I have them picking Quinton Mitchell, cornerback, Toledo. I know this is a little bit of a surprise, but if you've not seen Mitchell on tape, he is a physical corner. He's a corner that the Chargers need. The Chargers need something that's secondary, because their defense struggled a lot last year. They had trouble stopping the pass, etc. So they still have some pretty good defensive rushers when you have Mack and you have Bosa, etc. So you need to shore up that back end. Let me see. Best move for the Commanders: don't get stuck into the quarterback talk. I agree, Darrell Owens. If you're the Washington Commanders, do not get stuck with the draft, with the quarterback talk. Go for the offensive lineman. Again, LA Chargers, Quinton Mitchell, cornerback, Toledo. Number 6, we have the New York Giants. I have them picking Rome Odunze, wide receiver out of Washington. The reason this is a good pick is because I know people want to get rid of Daniel Jones. I get it. However, this is what you got to understand. Daniel Jones is still under contract. He's going to be there. There are plenty of other capable quarterbacks in this draft going late. This from the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round, you're going to have quarterbacks that can come in and possibly be that next Brock Purdy. So the Giants can always, if they scout the right way, they can find themselves a quarterback. They can even play Tyrod Taylor again next year. Who knows? But if you bring in Rome Odunze, wide receiver from Washington, he will make a big difference for the New York Giants, as I believe if they have a healthier team, that Giants team could be very dangerous next year, even with Saquon Barkley leaving. So, yeah. Number 7, the Tennessee Titans. Folks, for me, for the Titans, this is a simple draft pick. And I'll be honest with you, if I could put this guy higher, I would. But Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia, He's the truth. He is what a tight end is supposed to be. He has speed. He can block. And if you look at what he did at Georgia, he always blocked. He was a very tough guy, very tough-nosed. He is one of the best tight ends I've seen. I'm not going to say – one of my favorite tight ends of all time is Shannon Sharp. So I'm not saying he has Shannon Sharp's speed, but what I'm saying is that he has the ability to be that next great tight end. Now, this next pick is going to hurt Bears fans because the Bears were supposed to pick this guy, but I believe the Atlanta Falcons are going to get a quarterback in free agency, possibly Justin Fields, possibly Russell Wilson. I think they'll get their quarterback through free agency. But this is a name that everyone needs to remember. I think this guy has the tenacity, the speed, and the nastiness that a guy like Micah Parsons doesn't have. Not saying Micah's not nasty on the field and can't get down, but this guy I feel like has what it takes to get down on the football field. I'm talking about Dallas Turner, edge rusher from the University of Alabama. I have Dallas Turner going to the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons offense, to me, has all the weapons. You get that defense really together, the Falcons will be a problem. So I have them going. The Chicago Bears, even though they don't get Dallas Turner, they get Malik Neighbors, wide receiver out of LSU. I think that is critical. I believe if the Chicago Bears can get themselves that wide receiver, you put him with Moore, you have Caleb Williams come in, that is a 2-for-1. It's almost like the Texans last year when they were able to get C.J. Stroud, bring in some extra pieces. The Bears have the ability to be a great team. They cannot screw this up. Even the Chicago Bears cannot screw this up. I promise you. Number 10, Illumine Fasanu. I'm going to say it like that because I have to get the pronouncer, but basically the Fasanu, the offensive tackle from Penn State. The reason the Jets need to get an offensive lineman is, did you see what happened last year when Aaron Rodgers played? Did you see what happened to Zach Wilson? I don't care how good your quarterback is, and Aaron Rodgers is almost 40 years old. You have to protect your quarterback. So we talk about offensive lineman, fast new offensive tackle from Penn State. I believe he is the one guy that will be able to come in there and make a difference. Now, our first real surprise, I'm not going to say first surprise because we had the cornerback Mitchell Toledo go number 5. At number 11, Minnesota, Bo Nix. I know people are thinking, what about J.J. McCarthy? What about Michael Penix? We'll get to that. Bo Nix in Minnesota, with those 2 stud receivers, with that stud tight end, with the ability to throw the football that he has, people are doubting Bo Nix, saying that he can't be that right quarterback, that he's not the number 1 option. I think Bo Nix is one hell of a quarterback. And I think Bo Nix going to Minnesota, where you got to go places. You got to go places like Green Bay. You got to go to Chicago. Yes, you play the Lions indoors, but you play in that Midwest where it's a lot of cold weather. And I think Bo Nix coming from the SEC, going to the Pac-12, playing at Oregon, he's played in that weather. He knows how it is. So I'm going to give it to Bo Nix, number 11 for the Minnesota Vikings. Number 12, the Denver Broncos. I think they're going to be getting rid of Russell Wilson. So I'm going to put – I'm not a fan of this guy, but I think that situations matter the most in this year's draft. Situations matter. So I'm going to put Drake May going to the Denver Broncos, number 12. I think that is an excellent pick. Again, I'm not a Drake May fan, but marriages are made when you're with the right head coach. So I think that him going to Sean Payton is a match made in heaven with those receivers, with that throwing ability and that altitude. I think that is an absolute great move if you can get Drake May in Denver with Sean Payton. The Las Vegas Raiders, I had at number 13, I have them taking Michael Penix Jr. Again, this is about fit. You have a quarterback in Antonio Pierce who's hard-nosed, who wants to get the most out of his players. Penix is a hard-working player. The Raiders have a decent offensive line. Their defense came on to end the year. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs. If you get Michael Penix Jr. in Las Vegas in that silver and black, and he will look great in silver and black, you have the ability to really come up the ranks of the Raiders. You're not going to beat Kansas City, of course, because Kansas City is just, I made that mistake last year, saying that the Raiders were going to do something to win the division, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at the Raiders at the end of the year, what they did, and I don't care if the Chargers were injured, you put up 60-plus points on an NFL team, you're doing something. And they still played well the last couple of games, including going to Kansas City and beating the Chiefs, who went on to, of course, win the Super Bowl. You go next to the New Orleans Saints. I have them picking J.C. Latham, offensive tackle from Alabama. You need to be able to protect your quarterback. If you want to keep Derek Carr upright, you need an offensive lineman, bottom line. Number 15, the Indianapolis Colts, Keon Coleman, wide receiver, FSU. This is a perfect pick. This pick right here will help Anthony Richardson with this progression. Hopefully, they'll be able to re-sign their wide receiver Pittman, who's out of USC, and they can continue to build weapons because the Colts have to have weapons around Richardson. Richardson has a really good arm, and I said it would take him a few years to get going. He started last year. He did really well, but continue to give him weapons, and the sky is the limit for the Indianapolis Colts. That team is on the rise. That's a team you're going to have to watch. That AFC South is all of a sudden becoming very, very competitive. Number 16, we have Byron Murphy, defensive tackle from Texas, going to Seattle. It's not the sexy pick. It's not the sexy pick at all. But Byron Murphy, defensive tackle from Texas, is gonna wreak havoc in the NFL. And the Seattle Seahawks have a chance to get their man at number 16. Number 17, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have them taking Troy Fatune, interior offensive lineman from the University of Washington. You're going to see a theme here. The Washington offensive line is very physical. Yes, they didn't have the greatest game against Michigan, but that Michigan defense is all time. And sometimes you go against an all-time defense, you get a little nervous, blah, blah, blah. But these guys at Washington can play some offensive line. They can play some defensive line. And I'm a big, huge fan of this Washington Huskies bringing a lot of these players into the league. Next, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, number 18, Terrion Arnold, cornerback from Alabama. Listen, man, some of these corners in this draft are very deep. You're going to be able to get defensive players deep in this draft. And I think some of the corners we have coming off in the first round are going to make a huge difference. So, again, Terrion Arnold from the University of Alabama, cornerback. Next, this is a pick right here that I think – I'm not going to say this pick will propel the Rams to the Super Bowl, but my man Darnell Playmaker Sollins, he was telling me about the Rams and how they're going to be so good next year and how they're young. And I was like, oh, the 49ers are going to dominate. Then I started thinking about what the Rams did and what would have happened if they had beat the Lions and how much juice they still have on that defense and how much juice they still have on that offense and how they're going to continue to grow. And then I look at this pick at number 19, Latu, edge rusher out of UCLA. Mark my words, he will be the next all-pro. He got Aaron Donald in the middle. You got him. It's going to be hell in the NFC West if he falls to them. Just put it to you like that. At number 20, Pittsburgh Steelers, Brian Thomas, wide receiver, LSU. Here's the bottom line, folks. The Steelers need weapons. The Steelers need more weapons. They need to get a quarterback. I think they'll get a quarterback via free agency. Also, as I said, there's some really good quarterbacks in the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round. I believe that Brian Thomas, wide receiver, LSU will bring some good things to this team. Now, number 21, the Miami Dolphins, Amarius Mims, offensive tackle from Georgia. They need offensive line help. They got to protect Tua. If they don't protect Tua, they will never get to their goal. If Tua goes on to be a great quarterback, it won't matter because they'll never be able to protect him, just like they weren't able to protect Dan Marino back in the days, and you'll just have a guy with a lot of stats and no championships. So they need to be able to protect Tua, especially with some of the injuries he had in the past. This is for my Philly fans out there. Number 22, Philadelphia. I have them picking Cooper DeJean, cornerback out of Iowa. I know there's a lot of talk about him being the first white cornerback since Jason Sehorn, blah, 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 blah. It ain't about that. It ain't about what your color is. It doesn't matter how tall you are. It does matter how tall you are sometimes. But what this young man has, he has speed. He has athleticism. He is the truth. And I think a guy like this is what they will need in Philly to bring that physicality back. Now, I think that he could start out as a nickel because I know they probably will bring Slay back. I don't know if they're bringing Bradbury back or not. But he could start off in a slot, and then he can go out and be your 1 or 2 corner. But I think this guy is going to be very underrated. I think there's going to be a lot of conversations about a lot of dumb stuff. And the reason I mention it is, like I said, I think there's going to be a lot of conversations about a lot of dumb stuff that means absolutely nothing when it comes to him playing the cornerback position. So I think that he is the man for the Philadelphia Eagles at number 22. At number 23, I have the Texans taking Cameron Kitchens, safety out of University of Miami. He is physical. He can play the ball. He can play the run. He can do anything you want. the Texans need that physical safety, and I think that he will be the man for them at number 23. At 24, I have the Dallas Cowboys taking Talise Funge, offensive tackle from Oregon State. Very physical, about 6'6", 6'7", something like that, and over 320 pounds. Very physical offensive lineman. I think that's something Dallas will need, especially as some of their linemen start to get older. Guys like, you know, Tyron Smith, people like that. Their line is starting to get a little and older in the tooth. So you need to bring in some people in there with some girth who are younger, who can bring some physicality to the Dallas Cowboys. At number 25, Green Bay Packers, I have them taking Tyler Nubin, safety out of Minnesota. People say, Tyler Nubin? Why would the Packers take Tyler Nubin, safety out of Minnesota? Trust me, Tyler Nubin can play some damn good football. And in Green Bay, they will love him right away. So, yeah, Tyler Nubin, safety. The Packers need safety help. I feel like the offense is intact, so you don't need a weapon right now. They can get weapons. There are so many wide receivers in this draft. It's sickening. So the Packers can get a decent wide receiver in the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or seventh round. So I'll give them safety Tyler Nubin out of Minnesota. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Nate Wiggins, cornerback out of Clemson. I think that because Clemson was a little down last year, people forget how physical that defense is. It's a very physical Clemson defense. They still play great defense down there in Clemson, South Carolina. Wiggins is the perfect man to come down to Tampa and make a difference for that team that is on the rise if they continue their rise from this past season. Arizona, number 27. I have him taking Kool-Aid McKendry, cornerback from Alabama. Now, he slid a little bit here. I don't know if it's because of some field performance, not having any interceptions, but he's a very physical corner. He's a physical cornerback who can do a lot of good things on the field. This may change. He may move up, especially when we see the combine. So I think that he is the right spot. He's in the right spot there at that position. Number 28, we have Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver out of, who was that? Hold on, did I put the right spot? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver out of Texas, going to Buffalo. He has speed. He has athleticism, very agile. Catch the football at any radius you want. Has to work on, continue to work on his hands, but he can catch the deep ball. And I think that's important for Josh Allen, who needs that deep target. At number 29, Detroit, we have Emis Rakestraw, cornerback from Missouri. As I told you, right here with Rakestraw, Emis Rakestraw from Missouri. As I told you before, this cornerback group is deep. Coming out of Missouri, I think he's going to do some good things coming into in the league. And I think at the position where the Detroit Lions need to make sure their secondary is shored up, I think that they'll pretty much do their thing when it comes to picking that right player right there. So Enos Rakeshaw, cornerback from Missouri. Next, we have Baltimore. Braylon Trice. I love this pick. If the Baltimore Ravens can somehow land Braylon Trice, edge rusher out of Washington, I think that would be absolutely huge. He's a good player. He can disrupt, and going to Baltimore, he will do great things. Next, we have San Francisco. Graham Barton, offensive tackle from Duke. Watch this young man. He's out of Duke. Duke's been playing better football. He's an offensive tackle. I think that it would really help the 49ers shore up their offensive line as they get older. And, they're going to cost some money down the stretch. So you get some draft picks in here and get your line together. Kansas City Chiefs, I have them taking Leonard Taylor III, defensive lineman out of Miami. The rich just keep on getting richer. Chris Jones, we don't know what's going to happen. Is he going to want to go into free agent, make more money, etc.? Even if he does, you bring this offensive lineman. He can tutor him. He can be the next great offensive lineman next great defensive lineman for the Kansas City Chiefs. So everything the Kansas City Chiefs are doing right now, folks, I mean, what can you really say? They're one of the best teams out there. And in my opinion, are you really going to stop them? How are you going to stop them? So it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. All right, let's go to our next topic. Let's talk some NBA, as we're going to talk about just some scores. We're not going to go through everything. We're going to go through some scores. We're going to talk about how not gonna really talk too much. Like I said, let's go through the scores. Uh, Tell you guys what happened this weekend. So let's go over the NBA scores from over the weekend as I bring you guys back and hear me. So let's go to the scores for Saturday. So on Saturday night we had. Let me make sure I didn't have anybody here. Okay, Saturday night we had the Pistons lose to the Orlando Magic 112 to 109. We had the Knicks go down to the Celtics 116-102. Jaylen Brown goes for 30 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Huge. The Minnesota Timberwolves destroy the Brooklyn Nets 101-86. And that was your scores for the NBA. Let's go to today, which is Sunday. The Lakers lost to the Phoenix Suns 123-113. LeBron 28 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. Another near triple double for the near 40-year-old, but it didn't matter. The Chicago Bulls go in and upset the New Orleans Pelicans on the road 114-106 as the Chicago Bulls continue to try to get into that playoff positioning. They are now, well, there's still a lot of games behind the Orlando Magic. They're still 5 games behind. They're 4.5 games behind Miami Heat, but they are still in the play-in as they are 2 games up on Atlanta, and they are 5 games ahead up on the Brooklyn Nets. So it looks like if the Bulls can continue this, they will be in the play-in. Sacramento Kings and LA Clippers are tight right now, 50-44 Kings. It's 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. The Milwaukee Bucks destroyed the Philadelphia 76ers 119-98. The Pacers destroyed the Dallas Mavericks 133-111. Let's see here. The Cavs beat the Wizards on the road 114-105. And the Denver Nuggets beat the Golden State Warriors 119-103. Atlanta Hawks beat the Orlando Magic 109-92 without Trae Young. Trae Young will be out for 4 weeks with a hand injury. Let me see. Did Trae Young even play? No, he didn't. He's out. He's hurt. So that's a bad loss for them. The Utah Jazz defeat the San Antonio Spurs 128-109. So basically, we're coming down the stretch here. A lot of NBA is going to be happening here soon. Baseball is going to be happening soon. We got some UFL coming up. We got women's football. It's springtime. A lot of stuff is going on. But as far as the NBA goes, I just think that right now you look at the league and you look at teams like the Lakers, you look at teams like Oklahoma City, we could see them in a collision course. In the East right now, the Boston Celtics is running away with things. But I really think that Milwaukee's getting there. Even though the Sixers didn't have Embiid today, I'll say this. Their defense is getting better. Their defense is getting better, and I think they're starting to be more locked in with Doc Rivers. So Milwaukee is one of those teams you're going to have to watch because I just think that, like I said, they didn't have Embiid today for the Sixers, but that defense for Milwaukee is starting to lock in even more, and I think they're starting to show what they can do. So we'll see how it goes. Next topic. I want to address this real quick, folks. I want to address this man, Stephen A. Smith. All right, so let me, full disclosure. I have been a Stephen A. Smith critic. I've made fun of him with some of my entertainment, Robb Johnson Entertainment. That's my entertainment channel. This is my serious channel. But I've had a lot of fun with Stephen A., laughing, doing voiceovers, etc. But let me get serious for a second, folks. Stephen A. Smith is a graduate of an HBCU, Winston-Salem State University. He was on the newspaper grind, the radio grind for a long time. Him and guys like Skip Bayless. I think that sometimes I think sometimes that with social media these days, these things come so easy for people that everybody thinks, I'm a journalist. Well, not everybody's a journalist. And I've had a conversation with somebody earlier today about this. And not that I don't respect social media, but what I'm saying, folks, is that I feel like when people spit in the face of those who've gone to college and have done it, and have had to go through the hard classes and this and that to become a journalist, well, it's kind of a slap in the face in a sense. And I'm saying a slap in the face in this sense. When you criticize somebody because you don't like what they say, there is a code of ethics when it comes to this journalism stuff. There's a code of ethics. There is a certain way you have to do things. Social media, you can run wild, you can do certain things, and it's fine. But Stephen A. Smith is old school. He's an old school journalist. He's been through the struggle. And as a person like myself who has seen and is still in the newspaper industry, knowing how hard it is, knowing that you're grinding, you're putting out really good work, and the pay isn't the greatest, but you're still trying to grind and do the best, and hopefully somebody recognizes you. Stephen A. Smith was recognized by ESPN early. ESPN saw how good Stephen A. was. So they hired him. He failed a few times and he made it big. He's making what? Over $10 million a year, which is remarkable. That's remarkable. And so I got to give Stephen A. Smith some respect. Now, does he have outrageous takes? Yes. Does he go a little overboard sometimes? Yes. But folks, we're in the entertainment industry. All of this is entertainment, from football to basketball to baseball to wrestling to whatever you watch. It's entertainment. A lot of people are just out here entertaining you so they can make a profit. Everything in this world is about a profit. So I get it. Like I said, I make fun of Stephen A. I may say, what the hell is Stephen A. talking about? But some of you all take it way too far. You want to fight people. You want to get on social media and make threats. When you start getting to that point, you got issues. And I look at the Pelicans, for example, when they put up that stuff with Stephen A. talking about, oh, he averaged this many points a game, he did that. The Pelicans have lost 2 straight games since they did that. No, I'm sorry. I think, either 2 or 3 straight games. Tonight they lost to my sorry Bulls. And yes, my Bulls are sorry. I'm sorry. They're not that good. My Bulls are not that good. It is what it is. But focus on you, New Orleans Pelicans. I think that's what this full-fledged conversation comes to. If you're the New Orleans Pelicans, worry about you. Is it a fact that Zion Williamson has an eating problem? Maybe it does. I don't know. I'm not going to judge the man. But what I will say is that there have been rumblings for a reason. Take care of in-house, New Orleans Pelicans. You guys have not won a championship. You've never won a championship. Have you guys even ever been to the Western Conference Finals? Worry about getting to the Western Conference Finals. You're the 5th seed right now. The Mavericks lost, so you'll remain the 5th seed. You're like, what, 5 games behind the Nuggets? Can we trust you in the playoffs? New Orleans Pelicans, worry about yourself. Worry about getting into the playoffs. Don't worry about Stephen A. Smith. He's a journalist. That's his job. And honestly, Stephen A. used to be heavy himself. So maybe he's trying to help Zion. Maybe from a distance, he's trying to say, hey, Zion, listen, man, I don't want your blood sugar to get too high. I don't want your your high blood pressure to get too high, because I'm looking out for you. Maybe he's just looking out for the young man. But we take everything so personally now, and everything is such, oh, you offended me. So it is what it is. But, let's check the comments real quick. Stephen A. Smith has been a standard people may not like, but you got to respect it. Yes, that's true, Darrell. You got to respect it because he is a standard. And as I told you all, he has put in the time. He's put in the time. He's grinded. Like, you look at Legacy Maker Sports, we've been in this thing for 7 years. That's not even scratching the surface. It may be another 5, 10 years before we blow up. We're blowing up now, but just imagine what it's going to be in 5 or 10 years. It takes time in this industry. This industry is not easy. This sports journalism, this journalism industry is not easy whatsoever. But if you put the time in and you grind and you continue to work, eventually things will go your way. I guarantee it. So, yeah. Now, folks, what we're going to do is we're going to go to our next topic here, and we're going to go 5 through 1. Okay, my top 5. I don't know why that was. Anyway, go for our top 5. Number 5, Travis Hunter, Colorado. Number 4, Carson Beck, quarterback, Georgia. Number 3, quarterback, Alabama. Number 2, quarterback, Lama Lee. Really good quarterback. Things me better Archman. Number 1, Quinn Ewers, quarterback, University of Texas. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. I gave you my early Heisman possibilities right there. 4 quarterbacks, 1 cornerback, being Travis Hunter. The reason I did that because you guys love college football. I love college football. So that was my top 5 Heisman predictions. We'll go back through them one more time now that the music's off. I had at number 5, Travis Hunter, cornerback from Colorado. At number 4, I had Carson Beck, quarterback from Georgia. Number 3, quarterback Jalen Milroe from Alabama. At number 2, I had Lama Leva from Tennessee. He's a quarterback. And at number 1, I had Quinn Ewers, quarterback from the University of Texas, who I think will be the number 1 or number 2 pick, minimum top 5 in next year's NFL draft. So let's go here. Let's go there. All right, we're back. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go through the college scores. Let's see. We'll go through the college scores real quick, and then I think let's see our rundown. We've done the NFL mock draft. We've done Stephen A. We've done the Heisman contenders, and then we're going to go to the NCAA scores for both the men and women. We'll go through that, and we'll go through it from yesterday until today. Make sure you all follow Robb Johnson Media and the Legacy Maker Sports Network on all platforms. All right, so going to yesterday, VCU women, they beat LaSalle 75-50. Richmond lost to George Mason, the girls 82-76. North Carolina beat Virginia 54-44. Richmond beat Davidson 66-63. Those are the local scores. Now let's go to some of the other scores as well. Houston beat Baylor 82-76. Arkansas beats Missouri 88-73. Notre Dame goes down to Syracuse 88-85. These are the men's scores, by the way. Indiana loses to Penn State 83-74. Shout out to Ace Baldwin, 23 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds. Imagine if he was still at VCU. Sheesh. Florida beats Vanderbilt 77-64. Wake Forest upsets Duke 83-79. Kansas State upsets BYU 84-74. Arizona beats Washington 90-75. Rice defeated East Carolina 70-52. I'll just go through some of the more ranked games. Iowa State beat Washington 74-64. Illinois beat Iowa 95-85. These are the Saturday scores. Some A-10 action. St. Bonaventure beat Massachusetts 75-67. St. Louis beat Washington 96-91. South Carolina beat Ole Miss 72-59 on the men's side again. Texas Tech goes down to UCF 75-61. Miami gets a get back. Well, no, they don't get any get back. They lose to Georgia Tech 80-76. Oklahoma defeats Oklahoma State 80-82. Kentucky absolutely destroys Alabama 117-95. Jesus Christ. Let's see here. Kansas beat Texas by a large margin, 86-67. UNLV upsets Colorado State 66-60. Number 22 ranked Colorado State. Connecticut beats Villanova 78-54. Tennessee beats down Texas A&M 86-51. Let's go through some more. USC defeated UCLA 62-56. St. Mary's defeated San Diego 88-62. And San Diego defeated Fresno State 73-41. Some of the ranked teams on the women's side, it looks like we didn't have any women lose. Washington lost. West Virginia lost to Baylor 66 to 65. 24th ranked Baylor and 22 ranked West Virginia. These are the women, by the way. Princeton lost to Columbia 67-65. Oklahoma crushed Oklahoma State 91-56. Let's see what else we have from the women's side. Gonzaga women beat Pepperdine 75-41, and that was it for that. So let's go to today. Let's talk about some of the games on the slate today. VCU defeated St. Joe's 73-69. Let's continue with the men's side, and then we'll go to the women. Let's see. Do we have any upsets? I don't think we had any. Well, no, we did. We had St. John's defeat Creighton 80-66. So St. John's takes down Creighton. St. John's is now 16-12 in the Big East, so they're a little bit on the bubble, but we'll see how it goes. Ohio State beat Michigan 60-57, and that was it for the men's side as far as major upsets. LSU winning Tennessee on the women's side and beat Tennessee 75-60. Notre Dame beat Boston College 79-55. Virginia upsets the Lady Cavaliers at 13-13. Upset Louisville. Wow, 73-68. That's wild. Caitlin Clark records a triple-double, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists as Iowa gets their get back against Illinois, beating them 101-85 after the loss earlier this week. Syracuse beat Pittsburgh 63-53. Kansas upset number 10 Kansas State 58-55 on the women's side. North Carolina loses to Virginia Tech 74-62. Ohio State beats down Maryland 79-66. South Carolina destroys Kentucky 103-55. South Carolina continues to win. They are now 27-0 on the season. Washington upsets number 9 Oregon State 61-51. Let's see what else we have here. Utah defeats number 7 USC on the road, despite Juju Watkins having 30 points. Just a huge game from Utah. They go in there and they beat the USC Lady Trojans in a huge upset. Stanford defeated Arizona State 81-67. Let's see, we had more ranked games. Duke defeated number 6 NC State 69-58. A lot of craziness before the tournament, and Connecticut absolutely destroyed DePaul. Old school Connecticut style, 104-67. So everybody, basically that was it for tonight. We talked NFL draft. I'm going to have probably one more mock draft before we have our real draft for the Legacy Maker Sports Network. And I'll have some more content for you guys. Basically, tomorrow night, we will have a Raw review here on the Rob Johnson Sports Show, episode 41. So again, there will be a episode tomorrow night, episode 41, where we talk about Raw, what happened. We're not going to really talk about Elimination Chamber too much, but tomorrow night should start laying the groundwork for what's going to happen at WrestleMania. So basically, we will see you all tomorrow night. And, for the Rob Johnson Sports Show and the Legacy Maker Sports Network and Rob Johnson Media, thanks for watching.